Joe Shane, the Giants general manager, he's saying that something could happen by the end of the week. There could be a resolution, which you would think would mean that the Giants are going to release Bradberry.
All right, let's talk about the Chiefs' likelihood of pursuing cornerback James Bradberry upon his release. Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey pardoning some pigs, and no, that's not a joke. Then let's compare some AFC West draft grades and much more. But first, how about those? What's up, guys? My name is Cole, and I do daily news about the Chiefs and the NFL overall. So hey, sub if you're new, hit that like button if you love some good Kansas City barbecue, and let's get into this news. First off, you're going to notice this video dropped much later today than normal. Well, that's because my daughter had a minor surgery this morning, and I wanted to be there for her family first, ya dig? Anyway, surgery was successful. She's at home resting, watching movies upstairs. So if you hear random screams or stomps or anything like that, that is my 2-year-old, because I'm filming right now with everybody awake, and normally I film in the morning while everyone's still sleeping. Anyway, thanks for the prayers. She's doing good for now. I do appreciate that. And then last thing worth noting, I'm going to do a live stream tomorrow night. That's 8 p.m. Central. So Saturday, May 7th, 8 p.m. Central, my first ever live stream to celebrate the fact that we hit 10,000 subs on this channel. I said I'd go live when we did it, so we did it. So let's go. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Mark your calendars, whoever can make it. I'm excited to hang out and just talk, answer questions, and hang out with you all. All right, with all that being said, let's get into this. Field Yates reported yesterday that the Chiefs waived 6 players from their roster to make room for newcomers, all the draftees and the UDFAs, and those 6 players on that list were wide receivers Gehrig, and Gary Jennings, defensive tackle Lorenzo Neal, tight ends Josh Peterson and Griffin Stewart, and defensive end Jonathan Woodard. I have 2 questions here for you all based on this. Will Gehrig be back once again, or is it finally goodbye for him? And 2, after all these players got waived, did they waive back? Okay, my voice cracked while I did that. I don't know what happened, but shout out to this man in the comments for his very dry sense of humor, which lines up quite nicely with my own. And then NFL.com released the top 10 matchups for 2022, and before they even got to the list of 10 games, they had to make a disclaimer specifically about the AFC West. They literally say this process requires a disclaimer. The AFC West went bonkers in the offseason, bringing a superstar quarterback, Russell Wilson, to Denver, a premier edge rusher, Khalil Mack, to LA, an elite receiver, Devontae Adams, to Las Vegas, and a number of changes to the Chiefs roster, including the departure of Tyreek Hill to Miami, and every divisional showdown could probably make this list, but in order to avoid repeating many of those matchups, we're only going to choose one, the most thrilling of any of the AFC West showdowns from the 2021 season for this list. But the AFC West will feature appointment viewing on a near weekly basis. I just found it funny that they felt a need to add a disclaimer specifically about our division. It's crazy, and it is going to be insane. Anyway, before diving into these 2 Chiefs games like an Olympic swimmer, let's look at some of these other games on the list. Number 10 is interesting to me because it's the Jaguars against the Jets. You know why it's interesting? Because nobody wants to watch that freaking game. How the heck did it even make the top 10 list? What are they doing? I have no idea. They list number 5 as the Chargers versus the Raiders, which I found interesting that this game is the most interesting AFC matchup that they list. Chargers versus the Raiders. Interesting, it's not involving the Chiefs, probably because they're already on this list 2 other times. And then number 3 is the Chiefs versus the Bucks on this list, and they say, this title rematch is set to take place at the site of Tampa Bay's 2nd Super Bowl victory, Raymond James Stadium. Tom Brady didn't come out of retirement to go on a farewell tour, and he's not about to shy away from the challenge presented by Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Mahomes has his own revenge to exact on the Buccaneers, who harassed him relentlessly in the Super Bowl and held the explosive Chiefs to just 9 points. Kansas City returns to a place that delivered its most frustrating and painful loss in ages. Will we see a different result more than a year after they last met? First off, let me note this. That paragraph was absolutely depressing to read, though I am excited for this matchup. Are you all as well? I would love to see a win here, let's be honest. But moving on to game number 2 on this list, as it's very interesting. It's not a Chiefs game, but it's the Seahawks versus the Broncos, and I'm definitely going to be watching this because Russell Wilson and the Broncos actually are going to be in Seattle. So interesting to see how that one goes. And then finally is Game number 1 on the list, and you could probably guess it already, it's the Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I wonder why that game would be number 1.
To the end zone for the win! He caught it!
Well, that never gets old. But the article goes on to say this: we should take a moment to thank the scheduling gods for delivering a rematch of the best game of the 2021 season and perhaps ever. Add in the fact an overtime coin toss between these two teams influenced the league to change its postseason overtime rules, and you have a matchup rich in storylines. Allen and Mahomes are the new faces of the NFL, and both teams enter 2022 with visions of kissing the Lombardi Trophy in February. Only one can get there though, and they might have to go through each other to do so. This regular season meeting could tell us a whole lot about how the postseason could shake out, and we can all but guarantee a primetime setting in the football world, turning its collective attention to Arrowhead Stadium for this one. Yeah, this game is going to be an absolute banger. I do want to take note of this, though. The regular season game will not indicate, typically, if you don't count the Bengals, how the postseason game is going to go. If you look at this graphic, here was the Bills and Chiefs score in the playoffs compared to the score during the regular season game. The Bills basically blew us out, beat us so bad in October that I almost went into hiding in my basement for a living. Oh, wait, I do that anyway. But yeah, it was a bad one. Regardless, though, Mahomes doesn't play around in the postseason, and 4 straight AFC Championship games should prove that much. Obviously, we beat the Bills in the divisional, went to the AFC Championship, so blah, blah, blah. You know that story. But what do you guys think of some of these top 10 games? Which ones are you excited for the most? For me personally, every time I look at our schedule, I have to blink a few times because almost every game looks like it's going to be an absolute banger. And then our new receiver Skyy Moore released a short video trailer on his YouTube channel of an upcoming documentary on his path to the draft. There's some pretty cool behind the scenes in here of him training, performing at the combine, and more. So make sure to check that out if you have not already. Link is in the description. And on the subject of Skyy Moore, sky is the limit, all that good stuff, NFL Network's Cynthia Freeland recently predicted that Skyy will be the rookie with the most receptions at the end of the season. She said Mahomes is going to elevate him and take things to the next level. What are your guys' thoughts on this one? Do you think he will have the most receptions of any rookie at the end of this season? Let me know in the comments below and let's chat about it, because he very well could be. You never know. And then here's something you need in your life immediately if you haven't seen it yet. Chris Jones recently posted to social media some footage of him working out and training this offseason, which you do love to see because Chris Jones is an absolute animal. Animale. I don't know what I'm saying. And I'm definitely excited to see him put in that work this upcoming season. And speaking of animals, Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey saved a couple animals the other day. And no, I'm not joking. It'll all connect here soon, so stick with me here on this one. The second annual KC BBQ Fest is actually this weekend at Arrowhead Stadium. It starts today. By the time I drop this video, it'll probably be just a few hours away. I think it starts at 5 p.m. And it ends Sunday, May 8th. The Kansas City Barbecue Festival is not a barbecue contest, but instead it's a celebration of all things barbecue. So,
nom nom, I like that.
The free event brings in some of the best pitmasters from around the country, and those in attendance can purchase food and drink, enjoy live music, games, and barbecue tutorials from the best in the business. And this is where things take a very weird turn, so buckle up here because this is the oddest thing I've ever read, at least for this year, and it's all true. 2 of our linemen, center Creed Humphrey and guard Trey Smith, joined Kansas City Mayor Quentin Lucas for the pardoning of the pig ceremony, which kicks off the festival. A pair of pigs who were aptly named Chew Bacon and Ham Solo for Star Wars Day, May 4th, were both granted clemency by Mayor Lucas with an assist from Humphrey and Smith. After reading this, I literally thought video proof, or it did not happen. Well, here it is.
My. I hope this is in the contract. That he gets drafted by Taylor. All right, so now we can say officially these pigs are Martin. Yeah.
And the funniest thing to me about this video is that Trey Smith literally had zero idea how to hold that pig until Creed had his pig. He then held it just like Creed, and it made me laugh because
what the heck is going on here?
The pigs have been pardoned, which I guess that means they won't be turned into bacon, which is honestly a freaking shame. Quite depressing. But where do they go? Are they going to be adopted, brought into a loving family who will nurture them and provide for their every need for the rest of their lives? I have no idea, but hey, shout out to Chew Bacon and Ham Solo. You have been spared, so be grateful. And then Dan Parr with NFL.com came out with an article on draft grades for the AFC West. He gave the Raiders a B, who really didn't have much in the way of draft picks after trading away their souls for Devontae Adams. He then gave the Chargers a B for the selections, which included a pair of running backs, and offensive linemen, and a few defensive backs. And then the Broncos were given a B+, and I mean, for not having a first or second round pick this year, they did decently well. They got a good haul on tight end Greg Dulcich, which was a third round draft pick, but he was ranked the second best tight end in the entire draft. And now let's pause for one of the most awkward exchanges I've ever seen in a while, as Greg Dulcich arrives in Denver for the first time.
Yes! Oh my God, look at that hair. Oh my God. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. One of the primary reasons why you're here right now is that.
It was all right, but this is what got you to
I mean, that is absolutely gorgeous, man. Oh,
I mean, he does have nice hair. I personally am jealous because I literally have no hair at all, but that was still an awkward exchange if you ask me. They spent a lot of time talking about his hair. Anyway, we all know they needed a tight end after trading away Noah Fant as part of that deal with Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. I covered this when it happened, but Noah Fant said he found out that he was being traded to the Seahawks, not by his agent, not by the Broncos coaching staff, but by sports commentators on the TV. Just imagine this. You're brushing your teeth in the morning with ESPN on, and you hear that Russell Wilson is coming to the Broncos, and you are ecstatic to finally be playing with a QB that is actually going to be decent. But then you hear you're going away from the Broncos to the Seahawks with Drew Lock. That's freaking messed up, man.
Wow, that's messed up.
Okay, let's get to this Chiefs grade though real quick. Author Dan Parr gives the Chiefs the best grade of the bunch with an A, saying, with their division rivals making a lot more noise than the Chiefs did in free agency, you can say that again, the pressure was turned up on KC to make good use of the rich collection of draft capital it possessed this year after parting ways with Tyreek Hill. GM Brett Veach and head coach Andy Reid did not disappoint. Overall, it was an excellent draft for a team looking to fend off some very hungry challengers to the AFC West throne. So there you have it. The Chiefs get an A grade from NFL.com. Yippee. All right, now let's talk about Giants cornerback James Bradberry and the Chiefs real quick here. Just 2 years after signing a $45 million contract as one of the top corners in free agency, James Bradberry is on track to be released because the prior GM of the Giants, who recently retired, had no idea what he was doing, basically. But the current Giants GM, Joe Shane, suggested yesterday that Bradberry is probably on the chopping block, long speculated as a potential trade candidate this offseason due to his pricey deal on a financially tight team. The former Pro Bowler generated some interest from other teams, per Shane, but not at his current price tag yet. Way too expensive, we'll just put it that way. Now Bradberry is poised to find a new home via the open market. It makes sense for the Giants to cut him prior to June 1st, because if they do, they will save around $10 million, but it'll still be around, I've heard a couple different numbers, but it'll be around 11 million in dead cap still for them. But they need to save every million they can get right now because their former GM put them in a pretty bad place. So the question is, where will he land, y'all? Let me give you a few reasons why it may have been the Chiefs prior to the draft, but why it's likely not going to be now. Prior to the draft, the Chiefs lost Mike Hughes and Charvarius Ward, pretty much their their cornerback 1 or 2 in free agency. And honestly, we're looking a bit rough as far as depth is concerned at the cornerback position. Because of that, they were definitely putting feelers out, testing the waters, and rumors trickled in that the Chiefs were potentially interested in trading Bradberry, but a source from the Chiefs denied that and said they don't want to get involved and take on his salary. Well, since then, the Chiefs have drafted 3 corners, Trent McDuffie, Joshua Williams, and Jalen Watson, as well as 2 safeties, Brian Cook and Najee Johnson. And that's 5 additions to their secondary, not including any of their UDFAs that have recently been brought in to compete for a roster spot. And a few of the defensive backs, not including safeties, on the UDFA list are Caleb Holden, Komote Kofi, and Jalen Monroe. So upon James Bradberry's release, could the Chiefs reach out for a nice little chat over an open fire? Yeah, I think they even might do so, to be honest, but how likely would they be to sign him? I'd say very unlikely. If any free agent signing happens on the defensive side, I'd imagine it'd be a focus on the D-line. Melvin Ingram could return as he was recently tendered by the Chiefs, but he can still sign with another team. That's not a guaranteed thing. So, long story short, the Chiefs signing Bradberry is basically as likely as the Jaguars winning the Super Bowl this upcoming season. Could it happen? Yeah, sure, but it's very unlikely. What do you guys think? Do you agree with me? Bradberry to the Chiefs, or nah, fam, we're good and need to focus up elsewhere, maybe preferably the D-line? Let me know in the comments down below. Then make sure to sub for more daily news like this, and check out this video here from yesterday where I talk about Brett Veach's interview with Mike Florio and the details he goes over about how they acquired Trent McDuffie in the first round. And until next time, maybe tomorrow morning for sure, but then Saturday at 8 p.m. for our live stream. Let's go. How about those?